Hey folks, welcome into Pro Football Ireland. We are getting closer and closer to the NFL season. I feel like I've been saying that at the start of every podcast for the last 6 months. But we are here. The NFL kicks off tomorrow night. And this is a special edition of what I am deeming, and it might change by next week, MMFB, Monday Morning Football, baby. Basically because, what is the point in listening to a podcast at 9 o'clock on a Monday night after a week 1 or week 2? You want to get reaction, you want to get analysis, and you want to hear opinions as quickly after. So I feel like getting a great team together to do that on this ever-growing network is awesome. I'm delighted to... Well, first off, folks, apologies to our sponsors. Eat Sport, the official betting partner of the NFL in Ireland and the UK. But to have a great team together, I'm buzzing to welcome Michaela Fagan. And Michaela, we're 24 hours away from football. Have you set your alarms? Have you bought the caffeine? How's the nerves ahead of week 1?
I wish the game was a little bit better. Like, I wish it was like two powerhouses like the Chiefs and the Bills. But, beggars can't be choosers. It's been since February since we've last had a proper game. And it's just felt like so long. So I'm just ready to be back watching football at least every Sunday night.
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready to chat with you as well and chat football with you as well. Looking forward, folks. If you're wondering, we have a week 1 watch party, and when I say week 1 watch party, if you want to come and say hello to me and eat chicken wings, come to the Woolshed on Sunday. It's free. Please come. It'll be
hard to pass up that opportunity.
And that voice is Mr. Conor Mangan. Conor, we had the reel. Obviously a massive welcome to you, but we had the reel on social media of you talking about your past. You play a bit of football, but now you're going to talk a bit of football. So how's the nerves yourself at the minute?
I'd be very nervous after Michaela calling the Detroit Lions non-powerhouse team. So I apologize to everyone in Michigan.
But yeah, are they a powerhouse team? I don't feel like they are either, man.
This is what's going to kind of show, I think, this season. Like, everyone's talking about the Detroit Lions being like that kind of, like, everyone thinks they're the underdog. And we don't know whether they are or not until they come out and they play against a great team. That's why it's going to be exciting on Thursday. They're going to go right up against Super Bowl champions. So it's going to be like what you got, Yeah.
And it's a situation, I guess. Look, do you know what? Let's just roll into that, and we'll get week 1 out of the way in the sense of this game. Like, Michaela, you said a second ago about the two teams. I agree. Like, I would have loved maybe... Like, I remember looking at the schedule going, could we maybe get Cincinnati week 1 against Kansas City? But then I thought, no, they'll hold it off. And look, the analytical mind in me was like, well, this matchup makes sense. The Detroit Lions, the team that started the year 1-6 last season with Dan Campbell, ended up really turning it around. Unbelievable. 8th in the league in passing, 11th in rushing, 5th in the league in scoring offense, and just really reignited what they could do last season on the ball with Jared Goff. And look, I feel like this whole thing for the Lions could go in 2 ways, Michaela. And firstly, it's like, could they take a step up? Or they try and improve on the offense? I think a real problem is going to be seeing Jameson Williams out for up to 6 games betting on college football or college sports, and it's awful to see for the team because they're going to miss a real star going into year 2 for them. But it feels, Michaela, like that game last year, it was the Bills against the Rams. We didn't know what Rams were going to show up, and by God, they didn't show up, and they haven't really showed up since. And I just hope, Michaela, that this Lions team can go into Arrowhead on Thursday night when the tension's so high, the Chiefs are going to unveil another banner. And let's be quite frank, Dan Campbell will say to them, everyone's against us tonight. Everyone thinks Chiefs is going to win. I'm just excited to see it. And I feel like, I'm not giving my pick away, but I feel like it'll be close from what people think. Now you're going to tell me it's going to be a blowout, yeah?
No, I actually agree with you. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think it'll be. I know I said, like, I wish the two teams were like two powerhouses in the terms of the Bengals and the Chiefs, but I do genuinely really, really like the Lions. I really highly rate Jared Goff. If you look at his stats last year, I think people just kind of, ignored him because, Matthew Stafford went to the Rams and were in a Super Bowl in his first year, and he kind of went to the Detroit Lions, who haven't played well in the last couple of years. But like I said, if you look at his stats, he was actually one of the top performing quarterbacks last year. He was just kind of overlooked. And, you know, they have Aiden Hutchinson on their defensive end player as well, who had a really good season, a good rookie season last year. So I think that game is going to be a lot closer than people think it will. I think the Lions will put it up to the Chiefs. And like you said, you know, Dan Campbell said that, you know, everyone's going to be against them. So the mindset of the Lions should be kind of like, okay, well, everyone thinks we're going to lose. There's no need to play it safe here. We've nothing to lose. So let's just go in and let's just put it up to them. You know, they can't do anything wrong because no one thinks they're going to win anyway.
And Conor, 2 teams playing in the NFC North. The NFC North, sorry, on Sunday in the Bears and the Packers. So, you know, technically there's going to be at least 1 or 2 teams that are within a hell on Sunday. So there's not too much pressure on the Lions because it's only week 1. But what sort of statement would it be if they somehow went to Arrowhead and got a result? And we've seen so many teams get so close last year. And not just last year, Conor, like over the years. Like, I look at that Chargers game in Thursday Night Football last year and you're thinking they could have got over the line. And I was very down on the Chiefs at the start of last year, but now I've got to the point where I'm just, and we'll talk about the Chiefs in a minute, where I'm just embracing greatness with Mahomes. Surely, like, tell me there's a chance that Goff goes in and works his magic on Thursday night.
There is a chance. And I think the reason why is those first Thursday night games of every season, they are a bit of a wild card. I don't care what anyone says. You know, you look at which teams won at home, which ones won away. It's all over the place. It's, you know, like I think it's road teams are winning more often than not. And it's partly because a lot of players like haven't had a chance to gel. A lot of veterans aren't playing in preseason. So you just have a Boilermaker opportunity of like an up and coming underdog against the world champions. But world champions might be a bit underpowered. Maybe they're embracing excellence of themselves, and I think Patrick Mahomes can do absolutely anything with the ball. Rely a bit too much on him, a bit too much on Kelsey, and just, you know, basically thinking they're going to win, basically thinking they're playing the Lions from 2019 or 2020, like, you know. I think there's every opportunity to do it. I mean, if I was a betting man at plus 235, that money line is looking pretty nice to me. A bit more of a risk taker, but that would be kind of like, that entices me. That makes me excited. And then, yeah, like Jared Goff is a brilliant quarterback, and everyone thought like you traded for Matthew Stafford, just go all in the Rams. Let's just trade everything and see if we can win. And it sort of worked out, but I think people kind of downgraded Jared Goff in that sense. And like you said there, you know, and Michaela said he was great last season. He played fantastic, and, you know, had good coaching as well. So yeah, I would give them every bit of chance going into this, with the nerves going into the opening game of the season, the fact that teams might not haven't gelled as well yet, and maybe a smidge of cockiness with the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Kansas City Chiefs being cocky, I've never seen them be cocky over the last. I'm joking. They're so cocky, it's unreal, and I don't blame them. Like, I mean, if you had Patrick Mahomes, I think anybody would be cocky. I guess the last point on Detroit, because there are Lions fans in Ireland. I met 2 in Belfast the other night, so shout out to them boys. I met a female Lions fan in Dublin a couple of weeks ago as well. She was great crack. Goff had Goff only 7 interceptions last year, Michaela. So who knows? Maybe he could throw 3 or 4 at the first day and get halfway to his total. But a real improvement now in this season in Detroit, and they'll be looking forward. It's funny, Michaela, because, you know, looking at the Chiefs this time last year, every question mark was on Mahomes on this offense, and rebuilding around certain players when you lose offensive weapons, when you lose high-end stars also. And they found a way to make it work. Not just make it work, they won the Super Bowl. They found a way to embed different players, like bringing in Sky Moore, and it was literally sitting meters away from his performance in the Super Bowl. And look, it's a bit like Brady. I feel at the time, as a fanboy, I hated on him, but now I'm, you know, mature enough to embrace the fact that Mahomes is a hell of a player. They've got a great run game. However, they only finished 20th in the league last year in rushing offense on the ground. So I guess there's always ways to improve it. Even if, Michaela, if you've won a ring, I guess for Kansas City, as has been mentioned there as well by Conor a second ago, it's going out on Thursday night, getting the job done. The crowd expect, and they'll be very confident going into the season, and they'll really hope that they get there. Their defensive line, Charles Whelan, who has went to San Francisco, so it's going to be interesting to watch that. But bar that, you know what, like I'll just give my pick. I expect the Chiefs to win this game by 7 to 10 points. Michaela, talk to me about the Chiefs, and then give me your pick. Give me your shock. Lions win, please. I'm joking.
Yeah, I think, the problem with the Chiefs is that they're so frustrating in the sense of they don't have as many weapons as, say, the Eagles. The Eagles have AJ Brown, they have Devontae Smith, they have Dallas Goedert, so they realistically have more options and more weapons at receiving. And they had Miles Sanders last year, who I thought was a great running back. But it's just because Kansas City have Mahomes, it's kind of like you can never kind of mark them to lose in a sense, except maybe if it was the Bengals or the Bills. But I do wonder if the Netflix series has given any teams or players insight to how Mahomes operates. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if actually having that, that whole documentary about him and kind of seeing how he lives his life and seeing how he prepares and, how he trains, I wonder if other players and coaches are taking note of that and wondering how could they exploit it. He's been in the league, what now, like over, is it 5 years? And he's won 2 Super Bowls, and no one has stopped him yet except for Tampa Bay, and that was Tom Brady. So if anyone was going to stop him, it was Tom Brady. But I wonder now if people are kind of looking for other ways to stop him, and I wouldn't be surprised if they caught something or they learned something from that quarterback series on Netflix. But and I didn't watch the NFL when Tom Brady was hated on, so I started watching it and I loved him because it's just like he's just like the best. Like, I love that he always wanted to prove himself.
Like, he wanted to prove himself. Conor, did you hear the first phone call that Brady put up the other day, or it leaked the other day of Michaela as well? Did you hear the conversation whenever the Patriots drafted him? And there was a press conference, and he was already talking about going for like the number 1 quarterback spot in the team, and I think he was the 3rd choice at the time. So yeah, it just shows you the whole thing, I guess. Just in terms of what Michaela said, Conor, with the Chiefs, with Mahomes, in that quarterback show, like the side that I seen of him is he has no pressure. It looks like he has no pressure. He was sitting the night before the Super Bowl in Phoenix watching NFL honors, and he looked like he was just chilling out, revising for an exam, as if not as if he didn't care, but he was that chilled. It was like easy.
I think the most amount of pressure he feels in his life is probably from his wife and picking their furniture out and furnishing their houses. That seems to be the biggest decisions he has to make on a week-to-week basis. So yeah, not bad for a quarterback.
Not bad. Michaela, give us your pick for this game. You got Kansas City or Detroit?
I'm going to say Detroit, just for fun, just because I hate Mahomes and the Chiefs, especially after the Super Bowl last year. I just think they're too cocky and it drives me absolutely up the wall. And I think, if anyone could shock them, it's going to be the underdog Lions. So I'm going to go with the Lions.
I think the Lions are going to take a step down this year. I'm just going to be controversial and say this. And I like this is a whole different conversation. I just feel like Packers and the Vikings are going to be the top 2 teams in the North.
Well, why do you think that? Why do you think Detroit are going to take a step down?
I just feel like if you've got 2 games against Minnesota, right, and everyone, like the whole consensual argument over the last 3 to 4 months when people are trying to find things to talk about has been, oh, well, Minnesota's are going to take a step down. Why are they going to take a step down? Like, Kirk Cousins is playing for his career there this year, like in his last big contract year. Jordan Love, everything that's come out of Green Bay camp is positive. If they go and ball out, like say they beat the Lions twice, if the Lions don't beat the Vikings or the Packers 4 games, they're not making an improvement this year, like statistically. So that's the way that I see it this year. But everyone's talking about the AFC North being such a question mark division. The NFC North, as we go in, has got so many different elements, but I feel like we will know quite quickly, probably whenever we talk again Sunday night, Monday morning, when we've seen what happens on Thursday night, and when we've seen what happens with, in my opinion, one of the games of the week. I think it's better than the Steelers-Niners game. That Bears-Packers game's huge. It's New Year in Green Bay. The expectation in Chicago is massive. I'd love to go to that game. Are you picking KC, Conor? Or what's the crack?
I don't know. Michaela, you really made me think there about talking about Tampa Bay. Like, I thought Tampa Bay beat Kansas because exceptional pressure on Patrick Mahomes. It was literally their one thing. It's a big reason why Brady took like pay cuts throughout his whole season was so you can beef up the lines on both sides, get great players in around him to put pressure on other teams like this, and they put so
destroyed,
much
wasn't
pressure
it?
on Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, and even like, and I thought he had pulled it off when he had that pass in the fourth quarter where he was scrambling, got tackled and was falling, and then somehow zinged the pass. And I think it went on like the fingertips of Kelsey or one of the receivers or something. But it was just like, geez, even with that much pressure, he nearly got away from it. I feel like Detroit are basically going to be just focusing on that. They've had a long time to focus on that. Having said that, I think they're probably going to squeak it. I think it's going to be Kansas by a field goal. Not the line. I don't think it's going to be 6-5 or anything. I think it's going to be a Harrison Butker field goal. He's going to boot it. Game over, unfortunately.
I think it'll be a boring first game. Boring first game where we all fall asleep. I mean, for people listening, Conor's in the States or he's in North America. So I'm just jealous that you can watch it. Michaela, Barry's or Lions at 2 a.m. is the question.
Actually, don't know. Barry's probably. I will actually say, I'm just going to swing back to the Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes. Didn't they play? Wasn't when Goff was at LA Rams? Wasn't that like the highest scoring game in NFL history? The Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it was.
On the Monday night? Yeah.
The 51-51, yeah.
That was a great game.
So another matchup. So, it could end up like that.
I know people that were on a tour of NFL games that weekend and they had the option for £100 or something to stay the Monday night and go to that game, and they were like, no, it's okay. And then sure, everyone for us wakes up on Tuesday morning and they're like, oh my sweet Jesus, it's the best game ever. Talking about saying, oh my sweet Jesus, let's have some crack, because I know like we haven't heard opinions and stuff. Look, I'll not talk about teams being taken seriously, but Michaela, have you got like a bold prediction for the season that you want people to know about? You were like, yeah, I need people to know this. Like I mean, for me, my bold one for a long time was I think the Steelers will win the AFC North. I'm now torn between them and the Bengals. But I think the Bengals might edge them by a couple of games. Kenny Pickett being made a team captain is a big reason to the way I've played in preseason. But my bold prediction is probably going to be now that the Packers win the NFC North. I think they come in now and they take it over again with another quarterback, and Jordan Love, who just looks so fresh. And Chicago, Detroit, and Minnesota are just depressed to the hilt again. The one time they have this opportunity. So give me a ridiculous bold prediction, Michaela. Go for it.
I just want to comment on what you just said there. Why do people always have so much? Now, I'm going to probably be a hypocrite here about who my bold prediction is, but I feel like so many people just expect top tier performances from these like quarterbacks who've never really played, and for you to say Green Bay and Jordan Love are going to be NFC North champions, there's no way. I think what I said about the quarterback series, I think what it could be not a bad decision, but there could be negative outcomes for Mahomes. I think there's going to be positive outcomes for Cousins, because I think a lot more people like Cousins now after watching that series, and I think that can add to his confidence, and he can kind of be like,
100%.
all right, well, the people are behind me, kind of like, and I think he'll feed off that. But my bold kind of prediction, you see, I don't want to say the Lions are going to be like, the best underdog, because that's just boring. I think they're obviously going to be the best underdog. I did say the Jets weren't going to do as good as everyone thinks they are, but I've already said that. So I'm actually going to say the Indianapolis Colts aren't going to be as bad as everyone thinks. I saw a prediction of them going last in that division behind the Texans and behind the Texans, the Jags, and the Tennessee Titans. I wouldn't be surprised if Indianapolis got a good couple of wins this season and Richardson was a good player. Like, I don't see them finishing the division last. I do definitely think Houston will finish below them. I just think, Indianapolis have had like a few years of just kind of like the quarterback carousel and the disappointing head coaches, and I think no one's really paying them attention. It's kind of like the Detroit Lions last year. No one paid them attention. They lost they 1-6 at the beginning of the season, and then they just turned around. I wouldn't be surprised if the Indianapolis Colts did that this season. They're definitely, I think they're going to be better than people expect them to be.
Go bold. Are they going to make the playoffs or not? Wild card?
Sure. No, I'm not going to go that bold. I'm not going to risk my career saying the Indianapolis Colts are going to make it to the playoffs. But I do think they might be like one game behind 500.
Okay. Ballard's job's on the line. It's like, I mean, I think the thing I'm most excited for this week, folks, is Jim Irsay's tweet this Sunday or next Sunday saying roof open, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's go. Conor, you've got to give me a bold prediction. Come on, man. Let's go deeper. Let's go ridiculous level, like NFL game day morning at like 1 hour to go level. Go for it.
Yeah, it would be Barry's tea would be my prediction on Thursday night, 100%. It's Barry's tea. No, I can go bold with this. I think we're going to have a kind of. I think we are going to have a bold season. You know, my sort of bold prediction is we're not going to have one of those big powerhouse kind of always see them type of teams maybe in the championship games or Super Bowl. So I think we're going to have a Super Bowl with the Vikings and the Dolphins. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my sort of bold prediction. I think they're both been sleeping there for a little while. If that doesn't happen, then I think we're going to get something like Washington and the Raiders. I think it's going to be something.
Washington?
Washington.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've went Indy, we've went Washington. I mean, we're like 6 out of 30, which is good. We've got a chance.
Good getting progressively more unhinged in these predictions.
Welcome to 2023. Unhinged predictions on Pro Football Ireland. Like Washington have been going through the carousel of quarterbacks too, you know. So I think if they can kind of settle themselves, like, you know, they got a great team, did a lot better last year, I thought. I actually loved Carson Wentz, so it's disappointing to see how he went last week. He was unbelievable for the Eagles, Michaela. I thought he was just absolutely outstanding. And hasn't really got back there yet, but I think he has the opportunity to get back there. But we'll see. So that would be my bolder prediction is Vikings Dolphins. I actually think that's something that could happen, and that would be. I think it'd be great for the league too. So it's my ultra bold prediction, Mick.
It's like the year whenever the championship games had Tom Brady, Case Keenum, Blake Bortles, and who was the other one? Was it? I can't remember. Was it Matt Ryan? No, I got it wrong. Well, right. Well, I feel like, look, we've covered enough bases there. I actually I'd love to see Andy Richardson play well this year in Indy, just to prove Jeff Reinebold wrong, because he hates him. I don't know what it is. And those I can understand everything. I can't get Washington, but I feel like we'll come back on that. I'll drop in the generic, and I'm really starting to piss people off here, but like the generic, big media bold prediction over the last few days. The Buffalo Bills won't make the playoffs. I mean, of course they're going to make the playoffs. That's stupid. Surely they're going to make the playoffs. Come on,
I don't know. I wouldn't be that shocked if it didn't happen. I think there's a bit of a simmering, you know, who's on the cover of Madden this year? Josh Allen. Isn't there a Madden curse? He could get injured, and then
it's gone now, isn't it? Or is it going to make a comeback? I guess, Michaela, for me, it's like, actually, by the way, right now, so I hit my AirPod, right? And for some reason, it's just played our episode in my ear, which is very strange. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm not editing that out. That's very, very weird. Sorry. I was going to say, you're right to a point where it's like, if Miami make a run and if the Jets make a run in that division, that it could be huge, because it could blow Buffalo out of the water. Like if Buffalo go in Monday night, and it's something we'll probably not talk about because we're going to miss that cycle going into Monday. If Buffalo go in to New York and lose against the Jets, it could be the papers will write themselves for the next one.
If.
I feel like I need to ask you though, Conor, very quickly before we get Super Bowl picks. Dan Whelan's playing this Sunday for the Packers. I mean, barring a miracle at this point. And as somebody that plays the sport, this is pretty cool, isn't it? For 38 years, a lad that left Ireland when he was 13, playing in the NFL. I mean, you know, I'm sure he's the first of many.
Unbelievable. I trained with Dan this last winter down in San Diego. He lives up there in Orange County with his parents. And, you know, he's been on the grind there for a while. He was in Saints camp, and I think people were very excited last year. He was in the Saints, great team, great coach, great place to punt. If you're a punter and you get to punt in that dome and you don't have good numbers, then sorry. But that would have been perfect for Dan. You know, he would have had unbelievable numbers. And I think everyone was quite excited about it. But Sean Payton runs the special teams well, so that was the reason that didn't work out. And he finally went through the grind now, and people don't know him. He got into the XFL with the DC Defenders. He had a good snapper there as well, Brian Corey, who also trained with him all winter in San Diego. So that's always good for a punter when you can train and get a lot of time with your snapper. Did brilliant. I think they won the championship, actually, the XFL championship. Went into Green Bay, went into the boiling pot with Pat O'Donnell, an unbelievable punter as well. Extremely consistent, a professional, knows exactly what he's doing, big vet. They're paying him good money, and you're thinking like, geez, Dan's right up against it here. And then lo and behold, Daniel Whelan, who was first Irishman playing the NFL in 38 years since Neil O'Donoghue, was also a punter, and he beat out one of the best punters in the league, I thought. Pat's just unbelievably solid. Like, he punted in Chicago of all places, probably like one of the few places windier in Ireland, and he did really, really well for I think 8 or 9 years he's with Chicago. So unbelievably excited for Daniel. Sent him a couple of texts there that everyone in Ireland, like, I got about 15 texts from people saying like, have you heard of this fella? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, is he any good? And I was like, yes. The classic Irish line, like, are they any good though? So can't wait to see Daniel play. Really excited, absolutely buzzing. So I'm going to be probably a Green Bay fan for another year, because a friend of mine was on the team last year too. So can't wait. Very excited to be Daniel.
Wasn't Michaela? I hope we're adding a Whelan for Whelan. Is it 19 now? Jersey this collection year? Yeah. I'm gonna get one as well. So if you're down at the Woolshed on Sunday night, give us a shout, folks, because you'll see somebody crying in the corner, and that'll probably be me when that happens. I'd like to shout out now, because we're 30 odd minutes into this podcast. Big shout out to the Green Bay Packers for using our Neil O'Donoghue code and not referencing us. Shout out to Neil for doing that for a start. He's so sound. There's something happening there as well, which is going to be cool very, very soon. First of many. Right, Michaela, business point now. I'm trying to get everybody's Super Bowl picks in, so it's going to be too late to make a big sexy graphic. I don't see the point, because like, we know the picks. We've got the reel. We'll make a reel. I've said now on 2 occasions in different areas or events that F it. Rodgers is going to go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Eagles. Lose. Philly against the Jets in Vegas is going to be carnage. Can you imagine the security presence around Las Vegas? Jalen Hurts gets his ring. Aaron Rodgers walks off in despair, retires. There's your storyline. Everyone's seen the advert last week. My AirPod falls out. Everyone's seen the advert last week. You can't make this stuff up. Well, you can. I just have. So I'm going to say the Eagles win the Super Bowl by touchdown against the Jets in Vegas. And please, Jesus, we're there, or at least outside the stadium to see it. Michaela, surely you can at least be happy with that, with the whole Eagles connection.
I am happy that you picked the Eagles, because I'm not even picking them. So I'm glad someone did. I'm not the type of fan. Listen, I'm not the type of fan that's going to pick their team for everything. It's just unrealistic, and it's not intelligent. If someone came
Who's going to win it then?
What?
Who's going to win it then? Like, who? Because I just feel like, I was saying the Bills, yeah?
No, the Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah, I've been saying ever since they made that Orlando Brown signing at tackle for the offensive line, I always felt why the Bengals couldn't get just that little bit further and win the Super Bowl was because of their offensive line. Like, they could have better, defense in terms of cornerback and safety, but I always thought the missing piece was the offensive line and the protection for Joe Burrow. And once they signed Orlando Brown, the light bulb went off in my head and said the Bengals are winning the Super Bowl this year. And I think they will beat the Eagles. I think it'll be Bengals Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Ooh. I'm often like a Cleveland Browns fan there, folks. Shout out to Alex Kappa, a guy that won the Super Bowl with the Bucks and might win a Super Bowl with the Bengals now. He's from Dublin, California. That's why I said that. Okay, interesting. So I've got the Eagles, you've got the Bengals. I'd be happy with either of them as a neutral fan, because I think it'll be good crack regardless. Conor, be boring and pick the Chiefs. Go on, be boring.
Well, I mean, look, if we're just making stuff up like Michael did there, what I think is going to happen is if Patrick Mahomes is going to get a horrific injury week 10, somehow they're going to sign Tom Brady.
No,
He's going to get
Jesus
down.
Christ.
He is. He's going to come back. He's going to go down to the AFC Championship game. He's going to play against the Jets. And he's going to lose. Rodgers is going to beat him. And the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. That's if we're making stuff up. That won't happen. But what actually will happen, I think the Vikings are going to be a sleeper team to win the Super Bowl. That would be my pick. I think they've been building well. I think Kirk Cousins he's being coached the right way. His offense is going the way he plays quarterback, which is a bit different. They have a lot of weapons. They're back in a position I thought they were about 3 years ago when they had Diggs and Thielen and stuff. They're back now with Jefferson and a bunch of other weapons. I think they're settled, and I don't think there's a lot of pressure on them at all. I know a lot of people are talking about Kirk Cousins because of Quarterback on Netflix. But kind of what Michaela was saying, I think more people are kind of paying attention to Mahomes and kind of like, well, how do we get into this guy? Because Kirk Cousins is just like, someone's dad in a pair of New Balances. Like, he's just like, he's untouchable. You can't break that psyche. So I would kind of fancy them as kind of a sleeper team. But as I was kind of saying earlier, like, I think this season could be very, very open. I don't think it's going to be one of the standard teams. The Bengals, I think all depends on Burrow. It all depends on, and just putting all that pressure on one guy. I think it's the same as Kansas. I think it all depends on Mahomes. Literally, like everything depends on them. Not only like staying healthy and being healthy, but them actually playing great as well. Like they have done the last season, each of them. So I would go with the Vikings, please, for 200.
I'll take any of those options. So look here, I'm very proud of everyone's picks here. I like it. But I'd like to see, just putting it out there, if the Jets were to get to the Super Bowl and maybe not win it, like I'm telling you, I don't think we'll have seen anything like it in their lives, based upon the fact that
the Jets are not getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's similar. It's similar to like there's two teams in the AFC East that could get there: the Bills, the Jets, right? So if the Bills got there, the whole story would be, oh my God, they could finally win it. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm just saying. So then the storyline for the Jets would be Joe Namath
first. Jets fighting Super Bowl.
Oh. Aaron Rodgers having the chance to emulate Joe Namath is a huge storyline. Whether he does or not, it's a whole different conversation. And then the Bengals storyline's awesome because the Bengals never won a Super Bowl. And if you look at like their history, they thought they were gonna really have a good chance of winning it a couple of years ago in LA. They didn't. They should have won that game. Just putting that out.
They should have. But there's what do you think about this sort of theory that's been thrown around kind of in the media a little bit, that like, oh, we're finally going to see what Aaron Rodgers like can't do, basically. Green Bay has actually been supported well. He had great defense, good protection. He had actually great weapons, despite what everyone kind of thought sometimes. And now you're going to see, he's just kind of a bang average quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm hearing this kind of storyline go in. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I've seen articles the minute that he left Green Bay saying that he was a moron. He was some sort of freak that believes in weird science and that he was anti-vax and all this sort of stuff. And the same people, not gonna name their names, the same people 25 minutes after Hard Knocks aired was like, oh, Jets can win Super Bowl. Rodgers looks so great. And I'm like,
yeah,
you just sat for the last 6 months putting them down. Look, who knows what's going to happen? They have a hell of a team. Sauce, Garrett Wilson. Oh, good God.
And I feel like Michaela, you'll be like, let's not go against the fan base. He's going into like an equally as good fan base that are going to be right behind him. Like Green Bay, like hard fans, unbelievable. But the Jets, you're from New York. New
York. Anyone want to give me an upset for the weekend, Michaela? Do you want to hold it for the betting podcast?
I think I'll hold it for the betting podcast. You can't put me on the spot like that.
I'm taking the Steelers -9.5 over the Niners on Sunday, which is ridiculous. Mr. Mangan, have you anything to say?
That's just incorrect. Please do not listen to that. That's just throwing money away. My upset would be, I kind of love it because it's the first game and there's so many nerves. I love Detroit Lions money line. Wait for Kansas to kind of screw up. Too much pressure on them. Detroit I think Detroit will go in there and just be like throwing around the ball. I think Jared Goff is going to have a good time. He's going to be like, yeah, I'm better than this Patrick fella. Like this is not a problem for me. They're going to play more relaxed, a lot of pressure in Kansas, not as good as they were. Also, like that turf at Arrowhead is actually beat up. It is beat up a good bit. It is not great turf. So I'll be interested to see, you know, the running games versus passing games around there. I think, yeah, that would be my sort of, let's say, kind of off the cuff prediction. If you're gonna try something on the risk of your side, do that money lines plus 235, and buy me pint later.
Excited to see who is going to be on quarterback next year, because it's all going to leak out when you see all these camera crews at stadiums on Sunday. Michaela, Conor, thank you all so much for coming on. I think it's good crack. I'm enjoying this. We're going to have reaction on Sunday night or Monday morning after week 1. We're basically looking at everything apart from Sunday night football. That's the plan. MMFB, get on board, folks. We don't know what time it'll be at. It might be live. We don't know the crack. But hold up, there's a meet up in the Woolshed on Sunday. Obviously, if we're presented by EA Sport, please be gamble aware. Don't bet on the Vikings to win the Super Bowl. I'm joking, Conor. I'm only messing. But yeah, just be gamble aware. Only bet what you can afford. I've really appreciated chatting to both of you. I'm honestly, you know, genuinely, I'm buzzing that this is back this weekend, and I'm excited to chat to you both over the next few weeks and months. And who knows, we could all be sharing a beer or two in Vegas. But I will chat to you soon.
Yeah, just final note there on good luck again to Daniel Whelan.
Yes.
It's absolutely massive. Like, I don't think people understand how hard it is to get anywhere close to the NFL. It's an unbelievable achievement. And if there's any sort of like over/under punting average, I'm gonna go try to look for it. I don't think any bet things, but you can bet on virtually anything these days. So maybe there is, but I would definitely bet on hopefully he doesn't have to punt that much. You know, hopefully Green Bay are very good. But if not, they have, you know, one of the best special teams player in the league in Daniel Whelan. So
I think that's a good way to end it. From Enniskerry, County Wicklow, former St. Jarlath's people, to the NFL. Wife too, Daniel. Wife too. We will chat to you on Sunday or Monday, folks. It's long of fun.